This is part 2 of the Benjamin Trail NPXL1100 rebuild, and I'm going to try to pack a little more into these videos. Getting a couple thumbs down on the first one. As soon as I got the piston out, got everything cleaned up, and figured out how to show you guys how to put the seal on it, which is not easy. I stopped there, and I should have gone a little further, but today I'm gonna pack more into the video, since I have to put it together to see how the trigger feels. Whether it's long or short stroke to start with will govern how I modify it. So we'll have to see how that goes. I won't Loctite the action to the stock until I get the triggers set up, and then I'll Loctite the 3 bolts and put them in, and that'll be that. And then we'll re-blue the shroud. That's looking kind of nasty. We'll oil the stock too after I clean it up a little bit. Get that hung up. 'Cause once you clean it, you rub a thin coat of oil on it. You gotta let it sit for a day or two for that to soak in and cure. You get this real nice satiny sheen oil finish. That's really nice. So we'll do that too. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay. Now we're gonna put moly lube on the front half of the piston and seal assembly here, and we got to use this screwdriver to work it in past these threads and stuff here, and all these sharp edges on the holes and cutouts. It's a long, involved process to do that. So gotta do some smearing. It's basically an assembly lube, but it's also poisonous. That's molybdenum disulfide, something like that. Since I have to hold it, to get it past some of the stuff here, I'm gonna put it on the front part first. Some guys use their bare fingers and hurry up and wash their hands. Well, I don't enjoy being poisoned. Trying not to get it too thick or too thin, because this stuff does detonate. Yes, heat of compression warms it up, thins it out, you know, like melting any other kind of grease. I just thought these little flat padded stick things would be easier to smear the stuff on there with. Outers makes these. Okay. Set that back down there. Oh. Get this shit all over me. Actually, gotta wipe that off. Try to get that off the glove there too. And then fold the paper over so that's covered up so I can get it on everything. Stupid chair sinking again. Okay. I don't know. I just squirt a lot of oil on this little vise here too, and the threaded part and the little rods and everything to try to get that to screw in and out easily. I just don't know how I'm going to get this in there. I really don't. I can't hold it in there. I just feel like such a retard trying to. I can't. I really can't. I just can't do it. This thing keeps moving around. I can't tighten it up. Okay. A little more grease. Let's see if I can grease this up down under these little sharp edges here. Can't push it with a screwdriver. I can't get that screwdriver in there for some reason, but a little wiggling, a little finagling. Now right here. That's stuck right there for sure. I can't. I can't get that past that one little. Oh, God darn it. Oh, I can't tighten that up. Oh, I don't know what I. Oh, my tap hammer is all the way over there. Oh. Okay, lay it down, whatever. Okay. Well, we're slowly getting it in there. Let me turn you all around here a little bit. Hopefully, okay. Hopefully that'll work a little better. Okay, anyway. Piston about halfway in, time to get some more lube on there. So I watched Rick Usler do this, and he basically coated gave the whole thing a thin coat of Molly lube. I'm assuming because when you slide it in there, it comes off on the inside of the tube, you know. We can't even use the hinge bolt to put the shrouded barrel back on this other end here until we get this in up to there to put that little the center of the safety lever down in that hole. I can't see under this thing too well since I got it clamped on a vise to just enough to act as another pair of hands. When you guys start getting into repairing air rifles, you're going to find this gun butler is worth every penny. Plus one of these little vices like I got from Sears that clamps onto a table, in this case a heavy duty TV tray. The top is 3/8 inch fine particle board and finished, and you know. Yeah, I guess that's pretty good. But yeah, just wear gloves and everything when you're working with this liquid moly. It's molybdenum disulfide, or moly paste as it's commonly called. That stuff is poisonous. And we're not just talking about getting sick here, folks, so please be careful when you're using this stuff. Okay, I'm going to need my handy dandy tap hammer. Gripper's handy. The new seal fits a lot tighter than that old one. The old one you could slide back and forth fairly easy. That I showed in the other video, it was turning kind of a reddish orange. What was white like this one? I see where they would use a spring compressor into that handle, just a hair too big, darn it. Shoot. I was really hoping that would work. Well. Oh, and by the way, this is a new cleaning rod I dug out of a bag of black powder stuff I bought at Gander Mountain when it was still as noted as such. I've used this section here and this section on the end to mount this on, to use these great big 3-inch cleaning patches to clean the bore here with. You know, when I pulled the piston out and I'll get all nice and clean with some medium lacquer thinner. So that no, that's not going to work. Let's see if I can use this one. Okay. A little cockeyed here. I'm trying to get that oriented just right. But anyway, okay, got it in there. Just might have to do a little finagling to get all this stuff turned around the right way. Okay, now make sure I got all that moly paste off the outside here. Don't want that on the outside. This is upside down, by the way. That's the part that goes in the stock that you're never going to see. Okay, we got the piston in there. You can see the part with the moly paste on it, like right there. That little thing sticking across. That's You can see the piston that's in there. And I don't know if you can see that. You can see that moly paste is kind of smeared on the inside of the tube. The sucker fits tight though. Just need to almost got it. I'm going to take a punch or something and a tap hammer to try to turn that piston that way a little bit, because you can see it's blocking that hole right there, just a little tiny hair on that side. So we'll have to finagle that a little bit. And right here I'm using a roll pin punch to turn the piston around in there to line up that hole so it's all well and good. As you see here, you got that round hole. The piston's got to match the one in the housing. And here is the barrel. Got to hold it at that angle to get that little round curvy thing down in a little hole through the housing and into the piston, because it moves the piston back and forth, besides being anti-bear trap and all that stuff. And here we have the barrel lined up with the hole there in the action tube forks. And a slide in the piston. Here's the 30 weight silicone lube I used on the shoulder of the bolt there, just to have a little bit of something to pivot on. Get that lube in there, even though it's in a slot underneath the barrel, but helps a little bit. And there it is, all in one piece again. And here we put some moly paste on the bottom of the gas strut cartridge to put in that little cup there. Altogether it's 12 to 14 inches long. And when you put it in a tube, it goes up like that, because that's the hole that bushing bolt thing goes through the trigger, goes in. And the end of the piston winds up on that little shoulder there when you cock it, so I thought I'd lube that too. And a drop or two on the shaft to run down into the little bushing at the end of the strut cartridge there. And use a driver bit in there to hold the bolt hole square while I screwed that cap back in there. And you put 2 driver drill bits in those little holes and use a screwdriver to turn it like that to tighten it up. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little slot right here that this little U-shaped thingy goes in. Oh, hold on. Pardon me, you guys. I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. Okay. Little U-shaped thing is right there. It went in that little slot I showed you. I just couldn't hold the camera and do it with one hand. Then you got this little bushing here. Goes on this little pin right there. When it's in the stock, it lets it roll. And then we got a couple more pieces here. Get my retarded fingers to pick it up. This, okay, that was back here. That goes, or no, that wasn't like, what? And then there's this piece here. I found it on the floor, it fell out. So I'm assuming that goes on back here. So we'll get a little, see if we can get a little bit of grease on it and stick it in place. Well, that didn't work. I don't know what to do now. I'm going to have to see if I can just get some pieces. I've cleaned up and used some masking tape to hold it together so I can get it in there. It's just one of those dumb things where it fell out, and I don't know. I know that the loopy thing goes over that bolt right there, but I gotta find some other way to stick the two pieces together to get the stock to slide over it. Okay, I used some masking tape to hold those two pieces together right there. It fits the flanges on that loopy thing, whatever the heck that guard's there for, real good. So I know it goes there. So I guess I'll have to. Oh, I know. Got to put the other end of the safety arm back on. There's this. You can see it's like a shaft with a oval shaped flange on the outside. I'll have to put it back on and then show you. I can't hold the camera and do it too. And here's the right way to put the trigger in, with the little lower sear lever sticking up on top there, held up by a twist tie. So you can tighten it down. That's the way it's supposed to look. And here we are putting the C-clip back in if we put the second half of that arm back on. Show you how everything is properly oriented. And here we're putting the spring back in the anchor hole. That's the flatter loop on the spring. Goes forward. And the bigger loop goes in that little hole right there. So it keeps a little tension on that arm. And just showing you again where it is and how everything is properly located. There's the little slot and square hole where the guards go around that trigger, a threaded trigger bushing thing that holds it in. And here we are putting the 4 stock screws back in. There's one on each side. Get those tightened in good. And here's the third one that goes through that hole in the back of the trigger guard and up into the back of the trigger to hold the action in the back of the stock. Pretty straightforward. Just hold it together with your hand and tighten it up. And here it is all back together again. And here it is cocked, where the barrel's loose, but it's held open internally so we can run a cleaning rod through it. Upper left patch is the first one. The first 3 patches I ran the brush through a couple of times, and then that 4th patch there on is where I used more patches to finish cleaning it. That barrel was filthy. I like to get them good and clean before I test them. And here's with the breech seal removed. And the particular pick I used and the seal I pulled out, flat side down. Okay, trying to balance the camera on my stomach here while I try to put the seal in. That's not going to work. It won't go in. These things fit really tight. So hold on. I got to put the breech seal in, and then we'll come back. Okay. Had to use my little, like about a 6-inch flat bladed screwdriver here and coat it with Pelgun oil and take it and kind of stick it. Hold it in with my thumb hold it in there with my thumb over here and go around here like I did with the breech seal, but on the outside rather than the inside, and take this and just kind of gently pinching the edge as I roll the edge down in there, because it's about the same size as the hole, so close that you have to kind of pinch it down in there, And this one is bent. The seal pick is bent like this. Is really handy for getting it out. That made it tremendously easier. Pittsburgh. I got a set of 40s for like $3.99 through Honey on HarborFreightTools.com. Them things are great for little C-clips and the springs and all that stuff. I just noticed Kenny Corman, he was using the seal picks for that too. Same ones. Great set of seal picks. Harbor Freight Tools got some nice stuff for doing this. And I left it sticking up a little bit. Just a little bit, so that it can find its own level when you close the breech. And a minute or two here, once I get set up, I'm going to show you the thing that the thing fires. So hold on. Alrighty then. Part we've been waiting for. It's all back together correctly and cleaned the bore, and you can see from them patches stuff that bore was filthy. I don't like letting it get that dirty. They break in better if you clean it out really good. Fuck you. Yummy money. I don't know you shit. You're from Bangladesh. Fuck off. Anyway, now we got it all back together. Got the breech seal in and lubed and all that. I've still got a better part of 1,000 rounds of these H&N Field Target trophies at 14.66 grain and 22 caliber. Got my trigger stick over there. So let's see what we shall see. Well, that cinched up real easy, but it's smooth and real firm on the cocking stroke. Okay, so, okay, yep, 31 inches, that's about as low as that sucker's going to go. Okay, that's kind of, gotta get set up here. Okay, oops. Kick off the safety, and may fortune favor the foolish. And the bipod trigger stick would be better, by the way, because the legs go out like, you know, so you're steadier side to side. Go front, back, side to side. Okay, we're not crunking. Wow. Right on point, too. Then trails are heavy for, they say they're an ultra magnum. I would just say magnum, personally, but they're good. Anyway. Nice solid click on the cocking stroke. That's always a good sign. But it's smooth because of the gas ram, okay? But it's still a very firm cocking stroke, which is a very good sign when you've rebuilt it, because you know you got everything right. The seals are good, and you know. Okay. Oh, come on, get around here. That thing, wrist strap, gets in the way. Okay, let's see what kind of trigger stroke we got here. I wasn't really paying attention the first time. I just wanted to see if it would fire. Oops. Dang. What put that second pellet directly to the left of the first one. Cool. I wouldn't say the first stage is a long pull, but I'm going to shorten it. Okay, let's do another one. Hold on, sinking into the floor in case you haven't noticed. Nice solid double click there. Got that real good. Molly paste, a little thin layer of molly paste I used in there, it turned out really good. I used the corner of my knuckle to get the skirt flush with the breech. And yep, that breech seal found its own level. I leave it sticking out just maybe 3/64 of an inch, and I let it find its own level, opening and closing it. It'll, as it goes against the block down here, the end of the action tube where the little hole is and all that, it finds its own level and it'll seal properly that way. So keep that in mind when you're doing these things, folks. Leave the thing sticking up just a little higher than you think it ought to be, and it will find its own level. Now keep in mind there's no sights on this thing, so it's sort of like you're aiming a shotgun while you're shooting a rifle. So that's rather interesting. I haven't done that in years. Actually, the trigger pull's not that bad. Between 4 and 5 pounds, I'm estimating. I don't have the little digital puller thingy, do we? But at the very least, I think what I would probably do is, like Kenny, this. I gotta find it again. Right down there, there's a little tiny slotted screw there for the adjustment, and I probably make that 10 millimeters instead of like 5 or 6, whatever it is. A little extra length, and you can cut not only the length of the first stage pull, but if I take the spring out, then I can. Or no, listen. Like one way you take the spring out, the other way you leave the screw out, and it lightens it up. So we'll have to play around with that, and we'll get rid of that bronze discoloration on the barrel shroud, which this part and this part here actually go back in there about that far. This one maybe only up to about here, but there's a seal, an O-ring seal on both ends. So I don't know if I got seals that size. We'll see how that works out. I got to remove those to use all the acids to clean this and polish it, and got a wire wheel. A few more wire wheels for the Dremel. I can make very short work of that. I don't know if that's from the scratches. I can't make up my mind if it's aluminum or mild steel. I thought it was steel, but you never know. Okay, well, she's shooting really nice. Got a nice little kick to it. Trail magnums. Trails are all ultra magnums, or super magnums, as Kenny calls them. Either or on the terms. But yeah, this thing is gonna be would be a nice little pig killer with Hornets or them H&N Barracuda greens, that domed point sort of thing, and it's alloy. Well, theirs are zinc and tin, and the Gamma Platinums are, of course, platinum and tin, but they're hard and they don't like to deform. So that's another one that should be pretty good for, and the alloys are lighter, so you're not going to take as much punch with them. Hence, my preference to use the Hornets. But we'll get to that stuff. So now that we've got it back together, we know it shoots, and pretty good idea what we need to do to the trigger. That'll be the next video. So, hope you got something out of this one. Good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. We'll see you again.